Hi, Topsfield Cable. We're in session for welcome Topsfield Cable Television. We're in session. The final line item of discussing the budgets and trying to come up with guidelines for the fiscal year 27. Let's, Mike, if you
have something you want to.
So I can show where we're sort of, we're kind of going with what's happening. All right, I will share. So I've got to log in then. Hang on.
And can you log in as well? Because I want you to share yours.
All of this.
So I want you to share as well.
But the way I look at the mask of this, we got, I sort of agree with you, is when we got kids K through 12, you try to know what the pipeline is for the next
All right.
years.
All right, okay, that's just gotta pull up.
Should be in the
stuff
door.
here.
What I didn't want to say loudly is apparently Masco's not as desirable as it used to be. We ought to get that up from what I'm hearing. Yeah. I mean, that's a huge swing. Like a 30% drop in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And then you'd think it would be proportional. Topsfield would have the same
Same
as
demographic,
Middleton or Boxford, you know.
same demographic trends, yeah.
They're similar, something, but it's not.
Well,
We're like this. Yeah.
So,
And we get,
well, last year, just an example though, 26 kids from Boxford last year went to the tech. Their previous average had been single digits.
that's one big,
So I mean,
That's
we
good
got,
fact.
and the only reason I share that out there, the only reason I share that out there is not because that one is ain't compelling. It's just, there's gonna be a bunch of these discoveries.
right.
But there's also, to the point, at some point, all what they know is that there were 280 kids in the 8th grade class, and there are 263 kids between tech, out of placement, or in the school in the 9th grade the next year. They know that 17 kids left. Throwing numbers out there. They don't know where they went. Did you tell if your kids went off to private school, did you notify the mask? Yeah, but mask goes, hey, in our selfish view, that's a positive. We're not, they're paying the taxes and they're paying for the kids' school.
Yeah, so David, I'm not as concerned about the reason why they're doing it. I'm just saying,
The trend.
we need to agree to where the asymptote is. Because right now, Masco School Committee wants to think that there's gonna be some sort of hockey stick.
Without knowing the reasons why,
Right.
it's kind of hard to judge the hockey stick, it's
Right,
all
but-
blah, blah, blah,
But
blah.
if
It's
you
all-
fit it to any kind of model, linear or decaying exponential, it ain't turning around.
This is a big
Right, so
number.
we're gonna dig in now into the numbers themselves, so we get enough of the context.
Hello.
That's you.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds like Halloween. Oh, 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 oh.
Just muted.
There we go.
No, I just unmuted you. I mean, muted you.
Oh, that's kind of like being muted.
Yes. All right, so you do that. Let me give you, I think I need to give you sharing privileges.
Okay.
A co-host. Okay, go ahead. You should be able to share now.
Okay. Do that.
Amanda, I just gave you as well.
Oh, let me just. Make this very tiny Zoom icon. I gotta get up here.
Were you gonna create a spreadsheet like you did last year?
Spreadsheet of what?
The budget, the revenue, remember what you did last year?
Yeah,
Oh, the calculation of,
Yeah, it was great.
do that?
That was one of the
Yeah.
numbers requests that I made. That
Using
email.
my numbers, but
No, again,
I'm sorry,
yeah. I was in Puerto Rico. I was not looking at this stuff till I got home yesterday.
That's a good,
Vacation.
I'll send it to
Yeah.
Amanda next time.
Yeah.
Copy you.
Okay, so let
Yeah, we
me
got
open
big.
up the Zoom here. 30. All right. Okay. This is the list of assumptions that we can modify to kind of go in here. But if we put, we can change those as going on, but right now, there's thing called no raise is on. So if we go to the recap summary, the model has been set up so that last year is like this year, except for the debt service number is different. Okay, the free cash to offset the tax levy is at $0, just other difference, but we can equalize that. And then the modifications for the income are similar to last year, but they're somewhat changed. And then the other one is the levy limit is corrected. So we got the actual levy limit numbers for FY25, and that was updated. So, and so it picked up that levy limit. And this one then has the assumed 75,000 K growth in the levy limit as opposed to the 85,000 that was in Amanda's model. And then we've got the $150,000 headroom in the levy limit to offset. Compared that to Amanda's model, that was pretty much the differences there. So if we look at all of that and we have no spending, then with the increase in the tax rate, we've got $500,000 of stuff going on. We're under the limit by $555,000. Okay, so far so good. We're at the 0 point now. Now we got to tie in the growth estimates, right? So where we're going to end up. All right, any questions on that?
We're in a year at what, 976 to the 500?
Yeah, well, based on what Chase said, I did decrease the schools by 202 to show the actual net, and I'm at 1.18,
Right,
1.17.
yeah.
yeah. All right, so that's just with the 0%. Yeah, that's kind of what we do if we go at 0%, what we're kind of looking at here. And so that's all. So it's a 2.5%. But if you look at our levy limit, it goes up, not much, right? There's a new growth. The levy limit goes up 2.65%, kind of where we're at right now. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at.
So at this point, you only made a couple of changes. You increased the debt a little bit. That's fixed.
Yeah,
You stripped out the free cash.
right. But now if you put in the $305,000,
Right.
so if you put $305,000 of free cash in there, this goes up to $870,000, which is kind of close to the number.
So I just looking at the changes you made here. So those, and you put in what is accurate is the new levy limit calculation. That's pretty much fixed, right?
Yeah.
The debt service is fixed, so we know there's a few numbers fixed.
Right, yeah, but the big difference there, one of the things that people looking at, they're thinking $900,000. I took this $305,000 out. That's the big difference there. So the free cash to offset the levy. That's the big swing there.
Okay.
So this is just an apples to apples thing. If we put in the $305,000 or whatever, then
I'm sorry, can you go back to what the assumptions were
So these assumptions now is I have this thing called no raise on.
Yeah, but insurance you put at what increase level?
Everything's at 0, right?
So right now everything's at 0. If I
Then
put in
then where are you getting to 550,000? There's,
the recap summary,
go back to there.
okay, if everything's 0,
So what is increased?
so if nothing's increased, right?
So nothing has increased.
Nothing's increased, but our levy limit increases, right? Because I put in the levy limit, I've updated that based on the DOR numbers and stuff.
Yeah, but that should have been over $1 million.
It's about 970,000.
27, okay,
Okay, it's
2.5,
something like that.
okay.
Okay, and then the difference
Okay.
between like what Amanda sent out and this is one of the big difference is free cash to offset the deficit. That's, we start out at 0, so that's a $300,000 swing.
Estimated local receipts.
And the estimated receipts are somewhat different there, but we're sitting in the same ballpark.
Yeah, all the expenses matched Amanda's model. I was looking at this last night.
Yeah.
I was the receipts that I
Yeah,
couldn't track.
The receipts, so then those are sort of estimates for you get last year, because we have no updated numbers from the state for what FY
Mhm.
26 is and what the forward thinking stuff is, but we're in that 970 to 850
Mhm.
kind of range there, in that space there. So that's kind of where that, now we have all this free cash all of a sudden, you know,
Well, except for we can't use
I
it.
totally get it, but.
We're not,
Right.
I'm thinking capital, OPEB,
But-
other types of
but-
things, not,
Prior to coming in tonight, I thought we were gonna be short on free cash.
yeah,
We could put in $338,000 in free cash and probably not have a controversial
Yeah.
discussion about it the way we did last year. So if we add that 338,000 in here.
Amanda, your local receipts are best thinking are the same as last year, because his are the same as last year.
My local receipts, his went down 26,000.
Oh,
Mine went up 9,000.
Yeah, so we're in the range, so it's,
4,000 anymore, it's 9,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go up to like 910. I felt
Yeah.
comfortable with.
so,
you're
but, but now if we're gonna use 323,000, so let's really, we up 338,000 was the number you wanted,
335.
Amanda?
We're on 335.
335, so hang on, so you hold 335, so if we hold 335.
and free, okay.
Then that's kind of where we are under the levy limit now, which is assuming no, assuming no raises and stuff, right? No, nothing goes up, but that's just kind of the head-to-head comparison is how much did the levy limit change from last year to this year? Okay, and you throw in, you got another $10,000, you're holding 10,000 more in growth.
Mhm.
And so we're sort of in that.
Yeah, but that still brings us to 200,000,
Okay,
coming out of elementary.
oh, sure. So then, if you want to take the elementary calculation, okay, and say,
No, I'm just trying to get from the 1,1 to the 1,2, what's the other?
what's one?
Yeah, we're,
Because
The her model puts it at
he's
1.7.
at 976 and he's at 8.
Okay, we should be using the FinCom model because the town pushes,
I'm
My
going
local
to
receipts are
look at both,
2,141.
and we're going to, I
Right.
want to understand the differences.
Yeah, that's true, okay.
My local receipts are at 2,141,
So that's
26,
26,000 more.
36,000.
36,000, okay,
Yeah,
that's part of it, but that only gets us up to 9. So there's still another 60,000 somewhere. Cause you're saying you're at 1,1.
are you gonna put in the ambulance revenues or not? I don't have the ambulance revenues in on the income side.
You don't have any increase in the ambulance, you have the.
No, I had them out of it last year, had the ambulance revenues out. If you put the ambulance revenues in this year, then,
75% of the,
yeah, what's calculated, then if you add that in,
oh, that'd be a lot more than that.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm not
so
sure.
now that gets to the,
You're pulling these from the tax recap?
the tax, so this number doesn't have the tax recap, it comes, yeah. It comes from
This is the tax
tax
recap
recap, this
base
comes from
rate,
tax. So I took the tax recap from the last known one I have
Mhm.
and put it at that there, but the ambulance revenues are not in the tax recap.
They're included in other departmental revenues.
The 467
Mhm.
or 487, I can't see what that is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
How much of that 467 is ambulance revenue? Is it all?
Like a little, 300 is what we budget for. We're we're under budgeted, but the way the DOR wants you to do it is the way they recommend is to take 80% of your actuals.
Mm.
We're below that for our ambulance, but they don't wanna see more than a 20% increase either
right,
year over year. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of like edging it up a little bit each year, cause it is going up, but I don't wanna be over 20%.
Yep.
So it's like kind of like a little bit here and there.
So also with that though, where's the 25% that's exclusive of the 25% that goes to the trust fund,
Mhm.
right? So that's already
net.
taken out, that's the
Yeah,
net,
exactly,
that's
yep.
net, okay.
But you're saying the max we can put in is 80% according to DOR?
That's what they recommend. The reason being is in case
Understood.
you don't,
It
hit
ends
it,
up
you know?
cash, so
Yeah,
it,
right, so.
but I guess my point is the total ambulance revenue must be flatlining.
It's actually still going up.
It is, okay.
So we're kind of like giving ourselves like a little bit each
Right.
year just to kind of
Okay.
true up to that 80%, but we're not there yet.
Right.
But there's a reason behind why we're not like just adding another $50,000 to it, you know what I mean?
It's an accounting conserv
Yeah,
conservation.
yeah,
It's DOR guidelines.
Stay outside of DOR's crosshairs.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
no, that's what totally, I kind of
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, I would.
It's a more conservative way to do it. anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of. Anyway,
Okay.
So that's kind of where we're at, and that's kind of looking at things, you could look at a man's, see what we're looking there, but then if we start throwing in what we can have money to spend on, now we can just throw.
Well, that goes way awfully fast. I mean, take 380 out of that, 360.
So the Masco coming in, I think we're coming in between 4.5% and 5% on
Well,
Masco, and that's gonna swamp us.
Well, no,
Right
we're gonna set a guideline, and anything
Yeah.
above that guideline is an override.
Right.
We have to, that's our strategy for all of our, going forward, for all of our towns.
Right,
All of the legs of that stool. It's the unfortunate, it's,
so one thought I thought is we know Masco's coming in high, I mean, can we ask the other departments to squeeze, but that's.
Masco asked for 1.8 million, $3 million last year and got $3 million. And you wanna give them more?
So I'm trying to model, but
Yeah.
I don't wanna give them anything, I wanna cut their budget down to nothing, right? But I'm trying to, what's reality coming in?
Yeah.
Reality is we're gonna get stepped with a 5% bill, you know. Do we wanna proactively try and compensate for that, or is it just hit it to the taxpayers and hope they vote for the override?
I'm still not able to see a number that says this is the revenue that we're projecting we can spread amongst all.
So basically, what is it's right now, what you've got
Yeah, let me go back.
is the 800,000, 880, or the 900,000. That's where you're at from a number.
Yeah, but we just, but
So to kind of like explain it differently, like when Mike and I are presenting our models, we're pretty much taking our tax rate cap.
Mhm.
So whatever's in the tax rate cap, we're keeping our expenses flat, other than known debt costs that are already inflating the levy limit, if you will,
Mhm.
because they're excluded debt that
Mhm.
people have voted on. So those debt expenses are just gonna go right in. Everything else, like, we're keeping steady other than known differences, such as like the overlay surplus that we had 90,000 last year. We don't have that this year that we know of right now.
right,
The only things that are really changing that are your new growth, which we know for fiscal year 26, and we're estimating for fiscal year 27, and 2.5% off that. So those are like the known revenues, and then local receipts are negligible. They're like this small little 10,000. So when you say receipts, it's really just this whole model, like what it spits out of that. And it's really your new growth, your 2.5% growth on the tax levy, a little bit of local receipts here and there. And other than that, it's pretty much your decrease of overlay surplus.
Sure.
So the total you can spend up to the max like levy is that 1.18, if you will. So that's your revenues in the way you're speaking of it, like the revenues that you have to spend.
See the line 58, AD?
Yeah.
Basically, into Mike's model, reduce elementary school by 202,000
sure,
and add it, and that gets added down there. That's what our total spend is available.
yeah, right,
So if you take that 12,538, reduce it down to 12,336. Sorry. Just to be a starting place. Yeah. Right. And now if you go down,
now if you go down, then we're sort of,
that's
the ball, that's the ball we're playing with.
yeah. And this is where, you
Yeah.
know, there's some other
Right.
assumptions that have allowed it to grow a little bit.
Yes,
but that's the number where,
so, yeah, I left that one in, I was gonna back in,
yeah,
not, but I was advocating for Tom and Michael to back again,
Mhm.
but,
So we got 1.1 million increase to spread around.
and that's if we assume the 2.5. Now, remember, last year, the thing we did a little differently was we looked at what our historic adjustments were, historic actuals, and we chose to or not, last year, we chose to expand that number.
so we pushed the growth to 120, 125 last year.
Yeah, I mean, in essence, we said, okay, where was it allocated? We said 2.8 or 2.9 is what we're actually 3.1 is what we're actually building,
Yeah.
historically
Yeah.
comfortably doing.
And that's coming, and we only came in at 150, so we did very estimate at 120, we came in at 158,
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So,
So that means this is going back to the way we did it 2 years ago and all the past years with that number right there, which is a more conservative. But is more in line with what we did before last year.
The difference between mine and his is that he
The only
probably has
change
to
last
reserve,
year
you're
was to
reserving a piece of the levy.
use it more
100 to 150.
historic growth number. That was the main difference.
So
I'm not
we
reserving anything
historically
right
looked
now.
at what the
Zero.
actual
Right.
Think,
Yeah.
assuming that new
number
growth would
difference,
become.
well, yeah, in essence, that's
It's
what
just a
it is.
different,
so-
yeah,
so it's
but that's what the.
0.75 increase.
Yeah,
What was that,
Uh,
85?
Mike just said
The difference between his
Correctly,
model
we
and mine
exceeded
is that
last year's
he's
estimate.
reserving
Yeah,
a portion of
we
the
did.
levy.
That's
As a
probably not a bad way
conservative,
to
like
do it.
100, 150, I'm not reserving any,
We
with
need
the
a-
assumption that the
Yeah.
new
Get a
growth
number.
will
yeah, that's just.
likely come in higher than we're assuming, and that would be our
Yeah.
reserve.
But in which we've done traditionally, but during the process, we typically then,
We chop it down a little bit.
as needed to get.
You're gonna make a spreadsheet?
I'm trying to find last year's spreadsheet.
Yeah,
Because we know what we're gonna do with Masco.
Yeah, we're-
well, no, so for example, but if you know that health insurance costs are going up.
I'm-
300%, sorry, $300,000.
Yeah.
It feels like it.
$400,000, normally it's. Okay, so I mean, so.
That is the biggest hurdle
That is
we
the
have to
biggest
figure
hurdle
out
there.
this budget
We
cycle.
So-
talked about it.
Eating
Yeah.
into our levy 2 years in a row. to
It's
the
eating
point where we
everybody.
can't-
It's eating the federal government. It's just out of control.
It's really the big, like, if it wasn't for health insurance, this would be a lot easier.
Oh,
it'd be-
Yeah.
But that's a big number. I mean, there were years where, when I first started, we had like 1% and 2% increases, 3%.
Yeah, that was.
That was
Okay.
nice. And then it went
That's right.
7.9, 7, 18.15,
Yeah.
and we're holding close to that.
I assume when you negotiate with the unions, you bring that up. It's the total cost of
No,
the employee.
They don't, I mean, it doesn't
They
really,
probably don't care.
the fire department contract has nothing to do with health insurance, it's just.
No, but in terms.
yeah,
of-
but in terms of having the conversation.
Yeah, in terms of having a
we
conversation.
we got able to get OPEB contributions in all our negotiations, except for the library. So all of our full-time unions contribute a sick day back, the value, which is about $850, call it, per person, in the bargaining units that we can
Where does
use.
that show up?
It just goes
It
into
goes
our
in the
OPEB
OPEB,
contribution
like, yeah.
article.
Oh, it does,
It
okay.
becomes
Like
free
extra
cash
money.
ultimately.
Damn.
Oh, no, no, it's in a separate account.
How do we, so, but we can offset the OPEB contribution amount by that much, we push. it.
Our OPEB, we have a separate fund for OPEB, so when we put money, it goes in, the money we put in
Yeah.
is also just going into that, like, separate fund.
Okay.
So that goes into the OPEB contribution?
Yep.
So that should reduce our liability.
Yep, yep.
Somewhat.
The people's contributions. It's a drop in the bucket. It's not a lot, but it's the more of a ceremonial. To get that was sort of saying, hey, we're all in this together, like OPEB's a big thing that we're all trying to figure out.
Here it is.
And then they're gonna benefit from it when they retire.
Yeah, that's good. Put it up, use that as a template.
I
That's good.
like that, that was the.
That was good. Then we all knew. Thanks.
Right, I don't have it filled out though, so we'd have to fill it out on the fly.
I have the new growth.
Well, I was looking at straight budget, what was the budget numbers, we can do this.
Well, shouldn't you take it out of FY 26 and then base the 2.5 based on that number?
But he,
The 2.25.
just to note, he has the Essex Tech embedded in that other ATM warrant article.
Yeah, right, the Essex tax, that's been coming out of free cash. For,
How
and
much
those
do you-
we coming
how
out from
much-
raise and appropriate.
Raise
Raise
and
and
appropriate.
appropriate,
Raise and
yeah.
appropriate. So I left that's,
Well, that last year we had about a $50,000 increase on Essex Tech. And
Yeah.
I think that offset the new growth number you guys had,
mhm,
which aligned with sort of what we were estimating last year. So it ended up netting out just in a different way.
okay,
Then I actually emailed the superintendent today, trying to find out if they have any projections on what our.
yeah, and Essex Tech used to be something we'd ignore, now it's getting to be a big enough.
504.
Well, 2 years ago it was negative. We had a decrease in enrollment
Right,
and the budget didn't go up enough. It was like $5,000 in the good. And last year it went up to 50,000, so.
Right. But,
Okay.
yeah. But that used to be a number, it was like 180.
That's you're trying to fill your net town budget.
I'm not doing, yeah, I'm not on the screen, I know.
Right.
Let me pull up, this is the one.
Okay.
Let me
Oh.
show, this is still him, let me show, I'm taking over.
So what is that number? mean?
So I was just back calculating, it's like if we did 2.25% of the schools and then to put it back in, I was just looking at that would be the number for FY 26 and 2.25%. I was just that was just the number shouldn't have had that on the screen when I'm doing it, but just sort of.
Okay, this is the worksheet that we had did last year. That may or not be valuable. Unfortunately, I haven't done anything with this, because again, I was. Let me start, give me a second to get some things out of the way. Okay, so this was
Guideline, yeah.
this was how we did it last year, where we said, okay, here's what their FY 26 budget is.
Yeah.
Here's what, based on, we did, where is the,
2% in the green.
yeah, 2%.
Right.
And the model, and we worked it out down to, based on each of these, this is what gets us there. Okay, so Mike, if you can, what I can do is give me a second, file.
You had one line, shared insurance. I assume that's health insurance?
So the weakness of my model is it's shared insurance as opposed to kind of going into the budget and saying what's.
My point is, let's be definitive, Mike. I brought that up last meeting. When we say insurance,
Yeah,
I think we should define it. We assume it's health insurance, but there's other insurances, some pretty good sized numbers.
So I had the budget for 26 for health insurance was 3,070,372,
yeah, so let me look at that, run up,
the total, you know.
yeah, the total.
Town and school.
Yeah, what we did last year is we tried to parse out school insurance versus town insurance, and the model doesn't capture that, which,
But it's
Our
also
omnibus did though.
but the omnibus did, but then I gotta drive it with, yeah, right. But if this is gonna be an ongoing thing, we should probably break the model up into the school insurance.
Insurance for 26,
Okay, so is it, okay,
I had 2.826.
okay, so can someone give me what I need from Masco, Mike? What was the actual budget amount for this past year? Our share,
Okay, sure,
Including the override.
right, that's,
yeah,
yeah, there we go, yeah, thank you, yeah.
what is it?
10,866,338.
Mhm.
338, 10,866,338.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
includes the override, Heidi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, now the problem with this is we're gonna have to do a back check on this, because this is our contribution to, as opposed to the number, but at least gets us close. Essex Tech, what was our number?
504,670.
504,670, good.
Mhm.
What was elementary schools?
Inclusive of the 202, it's 12,336,916.
12,336,
906. Is that what you get?
906,
900.
16.
Very accurate.
Cool. Town,
from last year.
Exclusive of shared insurance, that's town and
One eight
elementary.
nine six two three eight,
11,
town, general government, right?
yeah,
1896.
no, everything not, so town,
Oh, okay, fine, okay, all right, got a little addition here.
yeah. So everything except town and elementary
Gotcha,
insurance.
gotcha. So public safety,
Or the other way to do it is we can back into that number if you give me the shared insurance, which is shared health insurance.
So the net amount is 12,224,
Excellent.
426.
12,224,
oh, so you keeping up
Or
the
two
pension and stuff,
Nope, I just took out insurance,
it took out insurance, right?
health insurance.
and what was health insurance?
2,826, 783.
That's for,
2,826,783. That gives me a total spend of 35,932, 350.
13,961.
9 what? So I got 962,
38,961.
38.
Just trying to see what I have to.
So wait, like medical last year,
Are you including shared health insurance in your calculation?
Not 10 through 16. No, I'm not. Oops.
Yeah.
38,759,133.
38. Let me see what the difference
Yeah.
is.
Where's the reconciliation?
Oh, it's a 202. So yeah, you're right on.
Okay. Okay, so then I've got to add the 202 in when we do, okay. So so now what we have is 963. This is where I've got to add the total levy growth. What was the total levy growth? And then I'm going to add a line in here. You know,
So the 20, is your model incorporating the like 26 levy increase?
so
yeah. Maximum level without so the levy limit growth,
what's your question?
I think the number you want is 911,149. So
Nine?
that's 911.
149.
Yep.
right?
So
And
that's
so,
a 2.5% increase on the levy for 2027 and 85,000 hold for
85,000,
new
right,
growth.
so that's holding 85 instead of 75,
So
I'm
that's what,
holding 85.
yeah.
okay, so that's the 911 is inclusive of that 85?
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's,
That-
that must be a blowout year.
That 911 is inclusive of the 85?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so then that would so then what we want to add to that is the 202,
Yep.
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Equals. $113,149, right? And so,
It looks
Why
like you
are
get a
we
balanced
adding-
budget there already.
This is
No,
the amount of money to
202,
spend.
it's not included in the expense side down at the bottom. We took it out of the budget number, so we're adding it back as available funds to allocate.
Taking the levy limit.
let me see.
Yeah.
Elementary school budget, I dropped by 202,000. And so inherent is, we had an extra 202 approved to the levy limit that needs to be added back in, because it's not accounted for in the levy limit, because levy limit, it's 2.5% plus $202,000. Well, actually, technically, I'm not
It
gonna.
was actually, it grew 2.5%, so it's 207.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was like, I'm not gonna go, yes, yeah.
No, that didn't go through, that 202 didn't go.
No, but we
It
get to,
did in the-
you get you now multiply by
Right, right,
1.025.
I totally get that, but for
Yeah.
this calculation, we pick that up in the increase
In the
in the
correct,
levy limit.
correct.
Right, well,
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, all right, I'll let you know.
We're in
Okay.
agreement, so.
Yep, don't argue it.
Once you two agree, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, what we said is we're holding 7% here, right? Well, what are we holding
We're
for,
holding
eight.
eight personally.
okay, so 8% of,
Oh, for just health insurance, we were
Health.
holding 10, actually, sorry.
How much?
We were holding 8 for the whole,
Oh, really?
Insurance
whole-
bucket.
whole bucket, which was like kind of prorated, but the
Oh.
actual insurance.
okay, so that just stays right
That
there.
number is only gonna go up if.
We were holding 13, but we,
Okay, so 282, 175,
But
no, I'm not sure, that's a total
Yeah.
guess until the insurance.
yours
comes
might be
in.
more accurate.
Did you guys give an insurance number yet?
No.
No, we won't find out.
When do they
till
come back here?
Like,
okay. So here you go, the wonderful news, not assuming any other growth, is we don't even get to do 2 1/4.
How are you getting to the elementary number? Oh, you've got 2%, not 2.25.
So 2%, so let's do this, I just wanted 2.2, well, let's escape here because we've got that pain point at Masco and I don't want to give them, but let's just do that. That gives us 84,000 to the good, or to the bad, right there, right?
So this is including no
No.
increase in local receipts, no increase in state aid,
Yeah,
so,
we held, how much?
yeah, like
Nothing.
10,000.
for local or,
And then this isn't including the 30,000 that we're planning to increase from free cash. So,
okay, so hang on one sec, total local aid, total state aid, increased levy curriculum. I spelled it wrong, I know, curriculum. No, I didn't actually. So you're saying, what was it?
I put 9 for local aid,
What do you think, Mike?
9 for the local aid.
9,000.
$9 increase.
Oh, I'll go with it. I took
Okay.
last year's number and I just
Yep.
moved it forward. So we see the
And-
The
number.
only other
Is it-
number you can consider in here is if we're in agreement on the 335, that does give you 30,000
Mhm.
increased.
So here's what's haunting me. In this year, we have more free cash. So, no, okay, this year we have a lot of free cash. If we were in a short free cash, I would go into my soliloquy, which I will not.
The reason
That
I
was good. Yeah.
support it is because
Yeah.
right now we're also in the whole 90 from the overlay surplus that we're
Yeah,
not
so
releasing.
yeah.
So it's like a net
a
negative
philosophical
there,
thing. It's,
60.
Yeah,
So at 2 1/4 straight across, we have $30,000 to play with without touching them. Okay? So if you look at this, going off of these numbers, if you go off of these numbers, Masco, that's where I was putting it.
Mhm.
Yeah, at 2 1/4%. Essex Tech at 2 1/4%. Elementary at 2 1/4%. And the town at 2 1/4%. Okay? Plus health insurance at 10%. Gives us a total of 1,091,155 of what our increase is. We have 1,122,000. So $31,000 additional to throw somewhere.
so, okay, gotcha. So I agree with the calculation.
That's step one. Does everyone accept that this is where we're at and understand, now we can turn those dials. But I want to make sure that we're comfortable with this. No increase in state aid. We're assuming no increase in state aid. No increase in, this one doesn't also doesn't, did you, in the 911-149, does that include new growth?
Yes,
Okay. So that's inclusive of the new growth,
85.
85,000 of new growth, I'm gonna note. in
You
there.
make a note.
She did say 85, I was surprised.
You like hitting her with a baseball?
No, I was like.
People are spending money. They're supposed to invest in
So
new thousands.
translation, we can expect about $190,000 to $200,000 in growth. I'm sorry.
Right, she comes in half.
Yes, that's what I just.
I'm okay
Well,
with
usually she's,
Yeah.
like this past year, we were at 158.
Mhm.
So she doing, her 85 is based on
It's
knowns.
funny change.
Yeah.
that
I made a
she
very
knows of,
similar
but usually
spreadsheet
there's
last
other
night.
things.
Yeah.
I was looking at $1 off of it. I feel pretty good about it.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, I'm at 30,992, rounding up. Oh, I'm actually like 40. No, more,
Yeah.
like 30 cents off.
Yeah,
That's good.
cool.
Good check.
So running off of this and making sure everyone understands where we're at, right? So if we do 2.25 across the board, this is what we have left to play with. So we could all just take that $30,000, go out and have a couple drinks and a dinner and then.
Yeah, but I think that's lost in the noise.
Yeah, well, no, I'm
But
totally
also the
joking,
debt's
obviously.
So if that's going up, there's gonna be a Masco override that's gonna swamp this.
Maybe, that's an update that we've received no information as to whether this year or
I'm
not.
just thinking we need.
I know.
And then the other one would be actually nice to hear what the elementary school really thinks they're gonna.
Well, that's where right now,
Yeah, right.
Didn't carve out the 202. Elementary was not gonna need an override.
so that's where, let me throw it out, if we,
What? 2%.
Okay.
2%.
So that's the number, so
they need
that was the
a-
number I was looking for, so I was modeling 2.3% on that number.
so if we were to throw them to the 2.5, which isn't a lot, it's $30,000.
Mhm.
That's what we've got left, remembering that they gave back a lot of money last year.
And they are being very forward thinking in their fiscal responsibility that aligns with the education of the kids. Like it's a beneficial, it's an.
This is-
benefit for everyone.
This is one option here, right? Is that we do it like this. That's one. The other option, I'm just throwing in where they could go. And in essence, if you put it to the town instead, it would be the exact same thing. I mean, those numbers are so close to each other from a budget perspective that it's gonna be materially the same 30,000 one way or the other, if you did that. Not advocating one or the other, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, now let me do one other thing, because we know they're probably gonna come at this, and this is something we need to think about. 2.25. And knowing that Masco has this actually keeps us under, it puts us at the same number as the towns, other towns.
It's probably reasonable to do.
So what's it?
If we gave it to Masco, ask the other three to be where they were, we still stay at that limit, levy limit.
With health and with insurance at 10%, I mean, it's probably gonna go up. Don't we think? Which one, Masco? Well, just the.
No, the insurance, you're saying that,
Insurance line.
you think you think this should be higher?
I mean, Kevin, you were telling us the last meeting like 10 to 12, right? If I was gonna make a recommendation, what to do with that 30,000 for right this minute, cause you can always reapply it as we start taking the budgets down, if it does come in lower, is I'd throw it after the health insurance, keep it super conservative on the guideline. And then we'll pivot if
Yeah.
revenues get better, but keep it tight
Yeah.
now.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Health insurance is just a beast, and it's gonna be.
Elementary, if you leave the 202 in and take 2%. That comes out to a $250,778 increase,
Yeah.
so they would be fine.
No, because we've taken the 202 out.
No, but I'm saying if
Yeah.
I do the math, just to compare.
Yeah.
Like with it in at 2% versus with it out at 2.25%.
Yeah.
It's still gonna work for you, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually thrilled that Alyssa said that number. I was thinking they were gonna see minimum 2.3%.
Well, no, the elementary school is
I'm just
doing what they can.
Yeah, we agree.
Thank you, elementary school. But, so it's not so much the amount of money, because Alyssa needs to make sure that when you're doing your checking, it's you reduced by the 202 and then added it back in. Not, I don't want you to go. So, So thoughts on this?
Think.
We have an advocation over here that we have two that have said throw it towards the health insurance for now, which is kind of, to be perfect fun, put it in a slush fund.
Yeah.
Or it's the other piece of that argument right now. And I mean that more as a safety, let's call it that, a safety fund that we can be
So is
forced,
this for a guideline recommendation or just for how we model it?
guideline.
Guideline.
Okay, so for guideline, yes, but we should be modeling and we should be throwing it all to Masco. We should go every last. Cause we know Masco's coming in big.
But what's the difference if Masco gets it in an override or the elementary gets it in an override?
No, the question is, we put it on the town for an override, because the town's the only one that has been challenged in an override in the past 15 years. That's kind of where I'm coming at, is, you know, we stick it to the towns in Masco. I mean, the town elementary, they'll pass every time, but it's the town that's been growing without an override for the past 10 or 15 years.
That said, the overall pod's gone from about 55% town.
Yes,
school
yeah.
to about
I mean, so the
69%.
math of the number is that the acceleration has been on the schools.
After overrides, prior to overrides.
Yeah.
The town.
But that's,
Larger races than the schools.
but that's a false fallacy in some respects, because, I mean, you're saying at the end of the day that, you know, so whether they got an override, voted for and approved an override or not, at the end of the day, two of the three budgets increased more than the other one. The townsfolk voted for that and agreed to it. But we went from, in the past 10 years, we went from where the town was 50% of the budget to where the town is now a third of the budget.
So I agree with that,
Yeah.
but still, when you're talking, so last year, the town appropriation went up 5%, right? And that happened without going on override. All I'm kind of getting at is our appropriations have always been generous for the town relative to the schools, and then the override goes on the schools. And then if you, I guess, and a beautiful example of that is we took 300K in free cash to supplement the town budget and put a $202,000 override on the schools to pay for something that should have come out of free cash.
Because what did we do? I agree with you, should come out.
We got free cash, so
Because instead we put it towards
towards the town budget. I'm just sort of thinking, if you want to be clean about this, we know Mass is coming in with a big number. We should probably put everything over there that we can to keep that override as small as possible, and then debate how we.
Is this on guidelines that we're talking about, Mike?
No.
I'm talking about how we should budget it. I think the guidelines should be, you know, I think the guidelines should come in a certain way, but I'm advocating for a different approach. That, by the way, I've been kind of pushing for this.
Yeah, you've been,
This is for since year 2 on
Yeah.
FinCom and last year was a great example of what happens is.
Last year, when you guys were at this point in the process,
Mhm.
the 1% offset tax levy was not included in your projections for what was available, correct?
okay.
And
We did
that,
not.
this time, the money's being built in, and to your,
No, last year you guys built it in.
It's
You
not in
built the
here.
305 right off the bat last year.
off the bat last year.
Yeah.
They're not including that
It's not
30,000
here.
in this.
No, I'm talking about the overall, the 1% off, like the 305, 335.
To offset the,
It's the timing of when you guys accounted for it, and I think if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, when you guys were modeling the guidelines, the 305 was not included.
well, so
Free
ultimately,
cash is though generated for what it's worth by the town's revenues and the town's.
Well, and also last year we only increased 4% and almost probably like another 0.5% of that was because of the school pensions, the school liability and property insurance too. So we are holding those increases as well every year.
Oh, okay, my philosophical point is I think every left bit we should be throwing to the schools. The ones that are gonna need an override, and then have a discussion on town services
so
that we should support on an override.
comments? Others?
Well, so I did that analysis of the compounded value of overrides and the percentage from Gen Ops versus elementary versus Masco. And then I took whatever available funding, you know, the, whatever increase in the capacity to, and I came up with some numbers that, let's see how close it is. They're not 254. 275, elementary 365. Masco 295, but offset that by Essex Tech. But that's on 915,000, so that's, I'm off now because I didn't have those numbers.
What are our big unknowns on the revenue side still? Cause it seems like we actually don't, they're mostly unknowns, right?
So it's, but we're not,
70.
state aid, state aid,
What are the Cherry Street on?
we can project out local receipts.
So our numbers are currently including flat to last year.
On the local aid, yes.
Yeah.
Did you change the chapter 70 to be actuals?
Well, for 2026, yes.
Yeah.
Actuals, we have for 2026, but not 2027.
So by 2027, you built off of 2026 actuals.
I
Right.
held it flat.
Yeah, to actuals, not
Yeah,
to
to
pick line.
actuals,
Yeah,
correct, yep.
okay.
Right.
So you, yeah.
But so we're saying right now we have this extra 31,000. That's likely to go up, not have surprises
The
down.
biggest levers right now that's gonna impact is gonna be health insurance, up or down, Essex Tech, up or down. It's gonna be, sorry, let me start over. So it's gonna be your biggest levers are gonna be your state aid coming in. When that comes in, it's gonna be the health insurance. And it's gonna be the, what am I gonna say?
It's on the revenue side you're talking about, or the overall?
The revenue side, because that seems to be our big unknowns, because we're allocating growth and we don't know what the growth really.
Yeah,
It-
so,
right.
Our
so,
other,
They're
Well,
trying to guess, are they gonna
No,
be positives or negatives when they come in?
But what's gonna happen is.
it won't be, so on the revenue side,
It's not.
it won't be negatives, almost certain.
Right.
Because we are conservative. How much of an increase it is, we don't know. In other words, we don't know what, as an example, we don't know how much what taxes we're gonna get. This year was a better year for the fair. Maybe we get another $1,000 or $3,000 in taxes. It's not
Yeah.
material, massive, but it could be something where because it was better weather for the
Yeah.
fair did better, they got more, so we're gonna get a little more revenue from that.
yeah, but like to your point, remember how we talked about $3.8 million free cash and some of our jaws almost hit the floor? You can argue that was an underestimation of income that came
From
in.
last
I
year.
would argue, I
Yeah.
would not say.
Well,
Well,
Past years, this year we need to dig into.
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
So we said last year that your numbers are gonna go 3 million, 3 million, 1.8, it's gonna bounce back up.
But-
Because of the collection timing, and then we had a one-time
but
adjustment.
3.8 is so big. I would just argue that there's some variance there, but
We have to
I'm
dig.
not arguing that we should keep going up.
We're actually, if you look at the two prior years from last year, so there's 2 and 3 back,
Right,
when we hit 3 million, 3 million. Those were good, healthy numbers, we put some in wing stabilization,
Uh-huh.
we were you know,
right,
we had to cut some capital, not, but we still got, it was like a good balance.
yeah,
If you deduct the one-time items, the one-time adjustment and the revenue that we received, plus a couple of the other ones, if you want to account for the roof.
Yeah.
We're actually below, we're closer to 2.6, apples to apples to those 2 years, but 3.3,
So,
which is below our target.
Yeah,
number for
okay.
what-
so I wanna,
but we can.
we don't have the analysis.
Right.
You're talking about past history and
Right,
the feeling you
yeah.
have, which I'm not
Yeah.
gonna disagree with in any way here. We don't have the analysis for the past year. We need to see that, and we'll do that in the December 8th meeting or
Right.
whatever that is and walk, right? And then we can have that conversation. But ultimately, where we're at right now is ignoring that number. And I will back into last year, we did pull substantially from stabilizations. And so I'm hopeful that this year
We can,
we
we are.
can reuse that 3.8 to
Yeah, yeah.
reinvigorate our stabilization accounts. But we've brought them down to effectively to our minimums.
Mhm.
So ultimately, though, what we're at right now is realistically, the 30,000, from a guidelines perspective, that number is probably conservative. Meaning there's probably more money that we have available. Also, ultimately, 2.25, 2.25, 2.25, and 2.25 is probably conservative. And there's gonna be more demand on that money than what we actually see here.
That was my next question. So if numbers do come in higher, it's more money to play with. Then
Yeah.
how do you decide? You've already given these guidelines.
Yeah.
But then how do we decide what to do with the?
There are 7 of us that sit here and debate it, and then we go back to the town and we go to the school, to the select board, and we say, this is what we can do to adjust. Generally, the select board supports what we're saying. Generally, we explain it to them and put it to them, and generally they support it. And the school committees recognize that, and or the select board recognize that if something's above those targets plus whatever that flex is that we've been able to move over, they're asking for an override.
So ultimately, the warrant is the select board, so what's on how it's written, except for Masco and Essex Tech, those are automatic, you get what you get kind of thing. But to the chair's point, we're here the whole season working together, and then as the money starts getting tighter, or clearer, I should say, in February and March. And tighter, yeah, never get tighter, sorry. No. We, like, if health insurance hits and it's all hands on deck, we're rolling up our sleeves, we're saying, what are we gonna do if it's a 20%, which it might be at the end of the day, so.
Well, if that's the case, we're gonna go revisit the health
Yeah,
insurance.
one observation on elementary school from the previous meeting. You remember they talked about a great program of teaching in-house. I think it was 4 students
Mhm.
instead of going to
Smart.
Landmark. We guesstimated that would be about a 200,000 saving, roughly. To me, maybe mentally, that offsets the 200,000, the one time.
So are you saying okay. That money would have, had they moved, what you're saying is, had they not done that program, they would have had to needed that extra 200,000 to cover the
Correct.
out of district placement.
You heard them at the school meeting. They said if they kept the 200,000, they wouldn't need an override.
Correct.
And I'm saying with the savings, instead of the 200,000, maybe they won't need an override. I don't know how it's factored in. I'm just throwing it out.
I think
It may be early.
quick math, I think we're still at 140. So we're 2.25 and losing.
That's a great program.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
And I know, I can say last year, our pensions went up $120,000. And that,
70,000 of that was the schools.
but we have it in our budget, so
Yeah.
it's not like the health insurance where we split it out, we covered it.
Okay.
We're factoring the same escalator in our estimates. I'd say, I'm gonna just piggyback off what you guys are looking at. I could say just the known cost increases, like Munis contract, we have to get a veterans agent by mass law, and we have a retirement in that department, and it's gonna be a big increase. Elections this year, we have to fund that, trash. If you offset that with known reductions with streetlights, because we're doing the LEDs. Old garage electricity, which is like $1,000, not a lot. Stormwater stipend dropping by 3, that's savings of 14. We're about 245, like starting point right there. And then that's before,
What does that mean, 245 what?
that's like, I know there is,
Without raises, pretty much, right?
245,000
that's like our.
of the
like,
275.
bare minimum before my departments have even said my contract here is going up or my contract there for services. And I think I can tell you, like, we sliced the road bridge and sidewalk last year by 37 to get the balance. I know there's an ask coming for that, but that's one where if we have to punt it, we can punt it.
So, ultimately, I'm sorry, I'm just 5 of 9.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we've got $30,000 in our guidelines, and our choices are, as of right now, to put it towards shared health or put it somewhere across these 4. I've heard shared health and use it as we'll see. I've heard elementary school because of the amount they've given back and the recognition of the work, and because of their stated needs. I've heard Masco because we want to know that
Digest, it's expensive.
it's because it's Masco and they're not, sorry, I'm gonna say it my way, and they're not cutting their budgets, so we're gonna just have to accept it.
Your other option, just hasn't been said, but it was touched on very briefly. I mean, we do cover about $70,000 on the pension for the schools within our budget still too. And last year was a recognition with a couple ticks up of that additional cost that the town had. I still would say, even though that would benefit us tremendously, because the number is really 425, if you take in the cost for the pensions and stuff that we're looking at minimum. Health insurance is still the biggest thing that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's uncontrolled, like there's nothing we can do about that. I'd still slide that over there.
So there's also an argument to be said that you don't do anything with it, you're back to 334 down to 305. Back down to 30, right? Because you have 335 as your, correct me if I'm wrong, as your free cash this year, right? 2.5% above.
To offset the tax levy,
So it's, instead you bring that back down to 30 whatever,
and then you can tweak it.
and you tweak it out of there, and it's just not in this number. It's not there.
But you
I
know,
don't
the
think
health
it's in there
insurance goes up,
either.
bump it.
So the sum of
It's not in
the
the,
town
it's in the 112, is
60.
is five something.
30, or the 34 or the 30?
The increase of $30,000 to
It's-
offset is not in.
It's not in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't add that in, okay. You just did the 305.
I think the school is a
Yeah,
bigger
the third
portion of
which
the
is no
health bill
increase
than the
Right.
town.
technically, so
Yeah.
they're-
I'm not sure the split.
What's that?
The school's a bigger portion, 60% of the health insurance.
yes,
Pardon?
65, I think.
65, yeah, it's a
65.
bigger part of it, not
Yeah.
rather than the town.
But this is,
Okay, so then take away what I said, because it's 30,000, it does not include going from 305,000 to offset the tax levy to 334.
Yeah.
They talked about if you increase, last year we did 305 to offset the tax levy from free cash.
Right.
There was talk here about it, well, 2.5% on that would be 334. No, it wouldn't be, it'd be, yeah. A little less than that, it'd be less than that, but there was talk of it being 334. And I thought that 334 was inclusive of this number, 911.
No,
305 is in that number, not
That's just the
3.
levy growth.
Yeah,
Implying that our number's actually 60,000.
Yeah.
yeah, it could be 60.
it could, well, it could also be a million, because we have 3.8 million that we could offset the
Yeah,
tax,
right,
but
right.
you know what I mean? It's just, from a good practices,
Yeah.
from a good practices, we should be staying
Consistent with the.
consistent with.
So our guidelines, our financial policies that were adopted in 2018, actually call out free cash offset the tax levy at 1%. So that's what we held 305 last 2 years, which I think last year was a little below the 1%, but the 335 gets us closer to what we,
Yeah.
the guideline.
Fun. So,
And is it appropriate when we have that much free?
That's a philosophical discussion we talked about. Using free cash to offset the tax levy is different than to use it to balance the budget. Last year, we used it to balance the budget,
Yeah.
which is exactly the same as Masco did with their 800,000 E and D.
But they reuse it every year to basically, in that way, it's not to actually, there's 1 year in my 6 years, I think that we did do that. The levy still stayed there, and the next year it bounced back up. It was like a 1 year sort of little dip because we didn't max it up, because they put 200,000 or 300,000 against it on top of the 1%. That 1% prevents an override ultimately, or a higher override, and that, it doesn't necessarily,
The policy says it's to offset the tax levy.
Right.
which,
Which is
Not to
but
balance the
it does the
budget.
same.
In the
does-
recap, it
Yeah.
offsets the tax levy,
so this is a,
regardless of how you.
Yeah.
that's
By
it,
definition,
we are arguing about the name, the terminology name right
Okay.
now.
Well, yeah.
Ultimately, it does both of those things,
It does. It does.
Exactly,
right?
every year.
It does both. Without taking it away, neither one of them happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so where we're at now is so the question becomes, what do we do with that 30,000?
So
could just
should you
ignore it,
make it
just,
60,000 and then you can give everyone a little bit more?
No. No, I want to say at the 30, because ultimately we're setting guidelines based on what we have without materially changing. Because to me, that 30,000 is,
Okay,
it is a change to what was last year.
So what is Masco's, if we increase Masco 2.5%, the total budget, the total contribution from all three towns? And what are we, like 31% of that? What would that number be?
No, so what we owe?
Yeah.
No, this is what we would owe.
Yeah.
How?
If I do this up to, because we're doing it based on our contribution.
Right, but what if the towns are saying 2.5, see, this is where I'm not math oriented.
Okay,
If
so,
we're saying 2.5% of
yeah,
the total contribution of all three towns
Mhm.
comes out to X. And then last year, our experience, we were, let's say, 31% of that, or 33%.
Mhm.
What does that come out to 2.25?
No.
Does that come out to that number?
So if we do 2.5, it comes out to exactly 2.5. If we do 2.25 is our goal, then it's another couple of $1,000s more than what we actually have here that we're gonna get pinged with. So in other words, let me do this. If we go at 2.5 and they come in at 2.5, we're gonna get charged $11,137,996. Okay?
We will.
Yes, because the other two towns are gonna do 2.5 as well. So everybody does 2.5, so X plus times 2.5 plus Y times 2.5 plus Z times 2.5 is 2.5 times X plus Y plus Z.
and that's assuming,
If we do 2.25, we're gonna be down about, this is gonna be off by, oh, no, not 225 now. Oh, escape,
That's without any change in the apportionment.
correct.
well,
Well, apportionment change is going to have to be an override.
so,
Correct.
portion change, you have to be.
We
so
know
there's-
it's coming in at 2.5.
We're getting hit with three things. One, just the 5-year average of nothing
Yep.
changes working against us. Then there's gonna be the actual changes in enrollment where Boxford, Middleton are gonna drop.
If they
faster
drop
than we do.
faster, if assuming they drop,
Assuming
yeah,
they drop faster than we do.
Yeah.
And then the third one is the minimum.
net spend.
Net spend, where our last year's gone up 7% each year, and I think we're gonna also have bigger increases than Masco and Boxford based on that, because it's a lagging enrollment driven calculation. So the 2.5% is on top of, it's gonna be some number between 2.5% and 3%.
So if we know
Okay.
Masco's gonna come in at 2.5%, because the other
Right.
towns are,
Yeah,
then
well,
let's give the Masco 2.5.
Right.
But knowing that the health insurance line is most likely gonna be going up or increasing from 10%, any additional local revenues we might get,
Mhm.
local receipts or anything, probably should go towards health insurance going forward. I mean, I guess there's still 3,800 there that maybe we could throw at the shared health insurance line. Not that that's gonna make a huge dent or anything, but.
But one thing I'd mention too, so I meet with the superintendent and the vice superintendent for finance every year. We're meeting with them next week. That I got confirmation after our meeting check. Masco superintendent and assistant. One of the things that they know is that we are gonna come in more conservative because of some of what Mike was talking about, and our limitations in general comparatively to the other two towns with what we have for capacity.
Okay.
Going 2.25 doesn't mean we don't bump it up later on.
Yeah,
If,
it's true.
if you're 100% right, that they're gonna look at what's the middle number, and that's what they're gonna shoot for.
Yeah.
And that means we're gonna have an operational override and an enrollment override.
Mhm.
But it doesn't mean if the revenue's coming better, that we can't shift that money later on. over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But you know, if the FinCom goes to 2.5, that's when I meet with them next week, that's what I'll go in at.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but the shared health insurance line still scares me at 10%, given that the fact that it was what, 18%
Oh,
last year? I mean, I feel like that's definitely gonna go up,
I'd throw it all.
Yeah.
2.25.
and that's where I was originally, and
okay.
now you probably got me back there, so I don't know.
I mean, the health insurance it would be better to cover for it than to have an ugly for crowds.
What would happen
Yeah.
with this, right, so what if
Yeah.
if
So
playing
there's
it out, the
agreement
health
on that,
insurance.
So put it towards health insurance.
Health insurance comes in better, which I'm not saying it will by any means, but say hypothetically it does. That money then frees up, and then if Masco's coming in for an override, you put it against that, or
Yeah.
if the town's 20,000 away, you put some towards that. Like, there's ways to sort of take that, whatever that looks like. Health insurance is gonna be.
That brings it to 11.1% for them. It only brings up 1%.
Health insurance number.
What's that?
When will you know the health insurance number?
February, end of February.
Yeah,
It
it's,
originally said 12%.
So last year they said hold 18%, just like, you know, at the time when Larry came into it, you guys were there.
Yeah.
Larry said, hold it again. I had coffee with him a month ago and he said 10 to 12%. And one of the reasons I think we're first 2 months, we were running around 0.75 ratio versus what the target is 0.88. We're way below. Last year, we we're at like 101. They're a little bit higher. I gotta find out if we're still trending in that right direction. If we're trending below, and there typically is a 10 to 12% increase, my hope is that we might be on the lower side of that, close to the 10. But I was in that meeting today that Shay was in, and they basically, the other town administrator in Middleton said they were told hold 20% from my,
What was there
Well-
last year?
they were at like 19 and a half. They were bigger than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I asked the same thing. No, maybe they have different experience than us, right? And they're gonna get thinged by that, but ultimately,
Yeah, so
oh,
Boxford, Middleton, Topsfield, relatively within like 1% of each other last year. Last year, this is kind of like the canary in the coal mine. We get our retirement numbers now. I just signed it in red because I was mad about it. But it was signed off on last week at I think 17 and 19% respectively for the two pro health retirees. Last year, I think it was, I'm sorry, no, it was 15 and 17%. Last year was 17 and 19%. So it's about 2% less. So if we're going off a trend, we'd be close to like 16% if there's like a correlation between the
It's
two.
just help.
The retiree health insurance relative to active employee and the relativity from that 6 months ahead of time, you can see what it is.
That's all in this one number combined.
This is what I don't understand. Overrides are not punishment. We have these extraordinary expenses that we somehow have to cover. If we can't stay within that guideline because we don't have the funds, or if the revenue, the ability to spread those receipts over different departments, then we will. But we're basing the guideline on what we conservatively have available right now. We might be coming to the same conclusion, but this is the way I think about it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I like this, because this is saying, this is what we have to spread, right? And if we know that health insurance for both the schools and the town is 12%, then it's gonna come from somewhere else until we know what the numbers are. You know, if we know that chapter 70 is gonna be a little higher, if we know that receipts are coming in higher, then it can be shifted around. The guideline doesn't mean if you go over that guideline, you're gonna have to hit with an override. We're gonna know better as we move forward.
well, I think we are trying to say though, because the alternative to that is, I mean, we might have a little bit of extra money, but the alternative is that if we don't do that is that you're asking us to rob Peter and Paul to pay Mary. You're asking us to rob Masco and Elementary to pay the town, or town and Elementary, rob them to pay Masco, because at the end of the day, you have to do that. So that's why we kind of aligned on these guidelines and holding people to their guidelines.
Right, but what you're
What do you
saying
think?
is that every year we have to stay under guideline, and it's like, and then you're saying that it's difficult to fund what we need. And so that's why maybe there needs to be an override for legitimate expenses that don't fall under.
So this is the first step in the process. I think we'll know the revenues, we'll know what happens with the elementary schools, we'll find out what happens to Masco. The town, I can tell you right now, it's virtually impossible to deliver anywhere close to the service level services with that guideline. I mean, it's just a fact. And that's okay, we're at a starting point. I think one question as you were talking, Heidi, and I'm not suggesting this, I'm just putting it out there. We're talking about overriding the 3 entities and making sure we make whole health insurance. Would there ever be a consideration, because that one item over the last 3 years and probably this year too, is gonna be 6-figure increases to almost, I think, we're almost $1 million over the last 3 or 4 years.
3 years,
3 years, we're about $1 million increase, and that's not sustainable, and there's no end to it, so.
inclusive of this number.
The increases on the town and the schools, you know, we're not adding crazy services or any services for that matter. The health insurance just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and that pot of money gets smaller and smaller, so we're coming in and saying we need more money for our operations, when the operations aren't necessarily. Like, I have no growth in my people costs, right? It's like, just like basic minimum raises.
So the short of it is that should we consider insurance number that's lower. With the understanding that that means that they were gonna ask for an override to cover insurance.
So if the override fails, then we don't pay the insurance bill?
No, then we cut our budget.
Right.
Then
That's
you
why I'm
fill
not
the
at the
budget.
suggesting, but we're talking.
Yeah,
about
no, but no different than if Masco fails.
So I agree, I believe
Or-
we should deliver a budget that works if there's no overrides pass. So I
Yeah.
agree with that, so if that's, I'm way off in the,
Your
Two
point
standard
is that you could
deviations.
cut a lot of Moscow, you can't cut them.
but you can't cut Masco either,
But what is the other two
because
towns?
the other two towns drag us across.
Except for the other
Yes.
two towns have been sitting here saying anything over 2.5, we're against.
So totally agree, but I'm just kind of,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know that the other two towns
Yeah.
are,
yeah, that's, so I've taken some.
and let me rephrase that too. The other two
Yeah.
towns' administrations,
Mhm.
leadership, call it, are in alignment with what we're saying about Masco. You know,
Masco's-
they will even acknowledge that Boxford may or may not be quite at the point that we are, where
Yeah.
we're right here from a community's tolerance for raises.
Yeah,
Middleton, putting words in their mouth, feels they're about right. If we're here, they're about right here. Okay? Boxford may not be there,
yeah,
but that's 2 out of 3.
okay,
Also, just throwing this out there, putting out numbers like this and being serious about it pushes Masco to look for
Yeah.
alternatives. I know where there are 600 kids that left here, right? I know where there are 600 kids that are trying to keep one school open for them.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right choice.
Wait,
But-
what school are we trying to?
Georgetown has 600
Oh,
kids
yes.
between the town.
Yeah,
We've lost 600 kids in the past 12 years.
Mhm.
Georgetown has 600 kids from
Right.
grade 7 through 12.
so, and Mike was talking about, not you, Mike, Harvey Mike was talking about that last year.
I mean, you know, bring it back up. You know, that would be your
Yeah.
solution.
All right.
So, you know, this has to come to a head and, you know, we can think of it this way. We had $1.8 million override last year. What's our town, you know, what's our town response gonna be this year?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the only override that came close to being challenged was the second Masco override
Hmm.
in District 1.
No.
Topsfield.
No, it lost in District 1.
Right.
It was, do you know how many votes it won by? 42.
I know it's close. I said that's the only
Yeah.
override that came close to being challenged.
But that's a pretty powerful statement.
I totally agree. I totally agree. But when you say, what do you think the chances of an override are?
I don't think, I
Yeah,
think,
it'd be an interesting experiment.
I think the messaging on
Yeah.
an override because of enrollment
Yeah.
gets through.
Mhm.
I think the messaging on an override for operational expenses.
Yeah.
I don't think it gets through this year.
Yeah. All right.
Unless we, honestly, if we as a group listen, hear, and evaluate that it is worthy and needed, truly worthy and needed, then that's a different statement.
It's true, there's one other thing that we could, in, this is very early, but if we do 2.5, we'll be aligned with the other two communities likely. If we went 2.25, but we just didn't have the capacity to move anything more towards it, we could have the enrollment, it gets a little sloppy, but you could then do a 0.25% to get us to the starting point with the other two communities if they're drawing the line at 2.5, and then whatever above that, so
Yeah.
now you have a menu of options, but
Yeah.
it's just something else to
So I
consider.
think our guidelines should be aligned. I was
Okay.
just talking about how we should model them.
So
Weasley Town.
So you think the two, right now, is this what's up here, what people want to do for guidelines? Or do we want to change something? It's 2.25 straight through and 11 for the health insurance.
Yeah.
And that puts us where we're $2,600 under the limit.
Okay,
That works for me.
that's fair. I should,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
That works for
Yeah,
me.
Right, but we're just,
Heidi?
I think Essex Tech is gonna come in higher than that.
I think a lot of these are gonna come in higher than
Yeah.
that. Well, Essex Tech, it's simply a matter of, do we have more or less kids?
yeah. Are we sending Essex Tech a
We
letter?
had one last year and then the increase.
guidance letter?
of
Yeah.
that.
Do they listen to?
No, our total number of votes is a rounding error in the voting,
Yeah.
because it's also based on number of enrollments. Oh, I mean, the number of total students served. So I agree across the board there. Do you think, but what do we do?
What?
So do you want to change one, Heidi? Is that what you're
So
saying?
I'm
or-
just looking, yeah, I mean, it's again, it's what that override, what the guideline means as we move forward. What that means in terms of making adjustments to before we go into overrides. That's the only thing that, rather than making it like anything over this is gonna be an override. It's not realistic.
Okay, I'm not sure is there a change you're suggesting, or is it,
I just think that we're basing it on conservative revenues, conservative capacity, and so we're giving you this as a means for you to start identifying what your costs are. And so if you cannot stay within that guideline, then by the time we get to the point where we're navigating what we have available to give you, it might change. And so it's not a strict, anything over this is an override.
That's what our letter says too. You know, as revenues get refined, we may adjust
That's what we
these
did
numbers.
last
That's what our.
yeah, we say that, but we set the expectations that if you're above this, it's likely you're asking for an override. However, there may be some, impact.
Funds available.
If additional funds are available, we will allocate them out evenly or balance them out somehow.
Cause we wouldn't ask for an override if there's money left in the library.
Yeah.
Use that first. That would be a bad
Yeah.
narrative. Just so you know, the superintendent and I have been emailing during the meeting. She's gonna try to give me the enrollment numbers. Possibly even tonight.
She, Mike,
Sorry, for Essex Tech.
oh, that's success.
For enrollment
Okay,
for Essex Tech.
okay. Well, cool. I was hoping it was.
Not the big one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Might be a 10-20 swing though.
Yeah, well, one student is $25,000 plus dollars.
Before any.
Yeah.
Yeah, exclusive of any increase. I mean, 11,350, to your point, 11,000, that might barely, if our numbers stayed the same, we probably wouldn't cover. If we went down by one, it would cover. If we go up by one, it won't cover number of kids.
Yeah.
Now, also on the flip side of that, every one of those kids that goes to Essex Tech instead of Masco means our Masco numbers should go down by half of what this is, because our foundation budget stays the same. And, but we have one less enrollment. So in theory, each kid going to Essex Tech costs us about $12,000. As it goes from one to the other, round numbers, I'm correct and materially wrong. All right, so are we staying with these? Heidi, I hear what you're saying. Are you okay with these is where we start?
It's fine for where we start, yeah.
Okay. All right, so we are gonna take these as our numbers. And we're gonna present them. Two and a quarters across and 11 for the shared health. Because our direction on shared house is 12%. 10 to 12. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna spend 5 minutes hopefully on the letter and just in terms of some general direction, and then we're gonna call it hopefully.
Can you send that to us?
Yeah. So Heidi and David sent some edits to the letter. And I want to go through those. I'm trying, which one do I have here? So I gotta stop sharing. this is Dave Larson's, let me do Heidi's first. Okay, share this now. All right, so Topsfield. This is the ad that Heidi had in May 2025 town meeting supported education budget contingent on over 1.8 million in overrides. 25% of eligible voters turned out to vote, with the majority supporting the funding. However, we are sensitive to those who are concerned about the unaffordability of their tax bill. Majority support narrowed from 59% on question 1, the Topsfield Elementary School funding, to 57% question 2, Topsfield share of Masco's tri-town supported base budget, to 52% on question 3, Topsfield's share in excess of base budget, with a mere 42 vote margin. And then it continues on. I like kind of acknowledging this somehow. I like that. I don't know if anyone objects, has thoughts, but it's kind of acknowledging out to the public that, hey, people sent a message that they supported it fairly.
Yeah, this is just going to the department heads.
It's going to be, it gets published as well. So, so there's context in here that's not exclusively for the department heads, right?
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's for posterity.
To say, like, who's the audience for this?
Yeah.
It's published, it's public.
It's
so.
our first document. It's the one that, you know. Well, and then while many of the challenges of the past few years are still present, other areas of focus need to be addressed. These continue to be certainly around long-term financial impacts of inflation, higher interest rates, and the availability of Fed funds, and the possibility of a downturn in the economy.
Well, interest rates are going down, so we shouldn't say higher.
Yeah.
Okay. Going back, or coming back down. Yeah. Well.
I just took it out.
Okay.
This is depressing.
And the risk of a downturn in the economy
Yeah. Risk.
instead of possibility.
Oh, depressing because it's true.
Additionally, there are several anticipated cost increases, but anyway, in coming years, including building improvements at the Masco. It's anticipated, we'll wait to see, new employment contracts, and expected continued large rate increases in health insurance. Community effort to reduce trash disposal and increase recycling has had a positive impact on the cost of new trash implemented in 2025, while tariffs have offset some of these savings.
Tariffs?
So we outsource our recycling to India and China, and so reciprocal tariffs, according to the owner of Mello, said that's why we've increased our pricing by 100%.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in there.
So the cost is going up.
I think it's important to let them know that it's policy.
It's important to know why. Otherwise, it looks like we negotiated a bad contract.
Yeah.
I looked at like 20 years of historical tipping fees for recycling, and I think the highest it ever was like $70. It's at 97 right now. And that's 20-year look back, even during the recession.
Because it could also, if they're lifted, it will explain a reduction, anticipate a reduction.
And we also budgeted like 68, right?
Yeah, right now, we're trending about 5% under budget. But that's because of all the change in people's behavior.
Yeah.
Which has been good financially and from a sustainability standpoint. Even the tariffs is working.
think I just lost,
I'm okay with it, that's okay.
I just accidentally, I swear it was accidentally.
Yeah, I haven't been here for 4 meetings.
We have talked about the stairs.
Yeah.
This is from the owner, Jason Mello, and he said it twice to me. I'll just make sure, I'll say it's going in a formal letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
Cause it's kind of, it's a little bit of hearsay to be truthful, like it's coming from him, but I mean, he's the owner, it should know.
It's a product.
Okay, well,
I had to raise prices, I raised.
Right, tariffs.
Yes, tariffs.
Isn't that what we're- how's it-
Well, increased tipping fees attributed to tariffs.
And union leave, no, that's all right. No, it's union labor. Sorry.
So attribute, and we'll see if it comes back, if it comes out, it comes out. We've still got a week before this is due. We expect considerable financial challenges impairing the balanced budget for FY 2027. We'll need everyone's help to achieve the goal. The annual budget, Prop 2.5 allows communities to decide their willingness to increase property tax above allowable limits to service its priorities. Modeled our guidelines based on estimated expenditure for the 3 primary budgets, estimated revenues, and allowable tax level increases. As the budget season progresses, we may adjust the revenue assumptions, including the overall guidelines. If the individual entities cannot absorb increases over guidelines, they may have to request an override.
Yeah, that was just grammatical and just changed make it active rather than passive. It says the same thing as
Okay.
before.
Ultimately, the town select board decides whether to place an override before the voters. Change to FY 27, and then we get into the what was the total that we put in there? I just had in my spreadsheet. 1122149. That's the total increase. 1122. One. 11% there. $2.25. Double that. This is a free cash. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get rid of this, but. To just say. Finance committee will evaluate all capital items individually. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I thought, because we got to really put a strategy together, and part of that strategy is refill the coffers, the stabilization accounts.
Good news, I've modeled it
Mhm.
to replenish it. Every penny we took out last year going back in,
Good.
and we've got,
I'm also thinking, since we're not, the 202 came back, accelerate use some of it to accelerate the
stabilization.
their stabilization accounts.
I've actually had a conversation with the chair of the committee
Okay,
about ways we can build those accounts up.
okay. This would be the year, kind of year to
We had
do
a
it.
couple ideas.
Okay. Elementary school, 2.25. Masco, 2.25.
But that's the elementary is exclusive of the 202.
Yes. Exclusive of the appropriation for the one-time ELA.
Right.
You had that in there. Nice. Right. Okay, so this is kind of what we have. I want to jump over to David's to pull in any of his feedback and material things off of it. And there's grammatical, I'm gonna share this out and ask for grammatical edits off of it. If we can do that, then we can do either, well, there are a few different things we can do based on where we're at. I'm trying to figure out if we have to meet next week or not. I'm trying to avoid it, but I don't know if the letter's formed enough so that,
I don't think so.
yeah,
At least my suggestions were quite different than Heidi this time,
okay.
so I'm not sure you can merge them very easily.
Yeah. So, at the end, yeah, this was included, right? The, provided 3 overrides totaling 1.8 million, that both of you guys included that piece. The grants was not included. 5 million or the confirmation on that, right?
Yeah, I had a question where that came from too. You know, last year we had 5 million in competitive grants or something like that. Where did that come from?
It wasn't it was past years.
It was last year's guidance letter you sent us.
The town employees' efforts to find other funding sources should be commended, with over 6 million in recent competitive grants.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't 1 year?
It wasn't 1 year, it
wasn't too far back. It might have been just
so
over
2
a
or
year.
3 years. So there was so there's, what was some of the things?
Did that include the federal?
And it might have,
Yeah, I think it might have included a decent federal grant that we were going to get and
we had $1 million lined up that got sliced when the federal government.
Oh, for
wiped
the
out
water tower one, or the, yeah.
Water tower?
Oh, the one that,
You didn't put in ARPA and things like that?
No.
Okay.
No, but there was
I can't remember off the top, it just, my head's on.
Yeah, it seemed like a big number. I couldn't.
No, we were very fortunate. We had some very big chunk grants that we were able to secure.
Okay.
so if we could, so
how much?
how many years, do we want to put this in at all? Do we want to acknowledge, I'd like to encourage that recognition.
A lot what happened with the elementary
Yeah.
school.
So can we, how do we get, so,
Okay, so I did one quick calculation. I heard from Alyssa, it'd go for 2% from last year. Right?
the what?
Took last year's number went up 2%, it'd be fine. What you gave him is 2.14, is
From a list
But,
of,
but then, if they catch the 202.
so run the calculation.
so are we going back? You want to go back and question? Okay, then stay focused. We're gonna run through, we've moved beyond that. We can come back.
Just put in excess.
Yeah, I need, I'd like us to be able to speak to grants. And some combination of grants across the board, so,
Making a comment that ARPA money isn't a competitive grant.
yeah. But ARPA was not used in this.
Right.
These numbers are not respective of ARPA. Thank you.
So the water tower?
I'd have to look back, I don't
6
know.
million.
So anyway, we need a new number.
Yep.
All right, so we need that number, and ask Amanda, can you help with getting what was a general list of some grants and a total an estimate on grants received in the past 2 to 3 years?
There was, the Milebrook Bridge at 3.2
I have
million.
a list of grants.
There was the Endicott Bridge, which is another 1.1.
That's
There's $1
right.
million, sorry, it took me a minute to like file that back up to the front. And then 1.1 for the water main / the water tank from federal government, which ended up not coming to fruition. We received it, then we didn't, they took it back.
Perkins Road too, bridge.
Yeah, that's the Milebrook Bridge. That was the 3.2.
Okay.
So those are the big chunk ones.
Okay.
How do you,
Got it.
or did they write the same thing?
What?
The red part. After other capital items, the new paragraph in May of 2025.
Yeah, that's Heidi's.
Oh, you combined them.
No, I didn't. Am I on Heidi's?
Yeah, you're showing Heidi's, but you're looking at,
Oh,
it's on your screen.
thank you. Thank you.
Wow, you guys were really aligned.
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought you were trying to look at both and compare them.
I was. But so we're looking at David's. So yeah, I was flipping over looking at Heidi's. I've been staying on this one. This is David's. 5 million, question mark on that.
Maybe you wanna call out the school curriculum separately?
Yeah, I need a list.
Yeah.
And off of the list, I'll just put them together.
I don't know if everybody can read it, if you want it bigger. I don't know why the hell it's purple.
Because that's the color for edits, for whatever reason. Town can continue to maintain a bond rating. This will become especially important as we need to borrow funds for future capital expenses such as the new water tank. That was already there to an extent, but I think it's that was more of a grammar change, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, do what you,
No, I'm looking for a material
right.
points that we want to pull in.
I think both of us emphasize in different ways that the town
Yeah.
voters supported
Yep.
significant increases in overrides. I think that was a main.
Yeah, I mean, you can cut it shorter too.
Well, but why is the point you want to emphasize that, or you point, we recognize it and also recognize, I mean, what you're doing was recognizing we might be here,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Letting,
See, I'm up here.
yeah, I understand.
I can't breathe.
We're talking about the contributions of town employees, and we're talking about the contributions of the community, is that they're willing to fund this, but.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in the future. So we have to, so you can shorten it or
That's a good
whatever,
way to
that's
put
my
it.
goal, is to say that.
Yep.
And it was only 25% of the voters. So get out there and vote, people, if you want to make your voices heard.
That's gotta be changed a little bit. We have a new free cash number, which got a little different than we expected. That sentence,
Yeah, I'm going, yeah. Let me find it, where are we? Okay,
Well, man, I found 900,000, which is nice.
okay. The town is required to present create a balanced budget. Finance committee begins the process, by providing the guidelines to the town school guidelines, which would meet a balanced budget within Proposition 2.5. I like that. I like the simplicity of this.
in parentheses, though, I couldn't decide whether it was,
I like leaving town, elementary, and Masco, the three primary budgets.
yes, no, I didn't have it in originally, and then I realized it wasn't very clear.
Okay, bring this over the purpose of. Okay,
The first sentence, though. The town is required to what? Present, create, or develop?
present,
Present, so you can get rid of it in parentheses.
Yeah.
I wasn't,
yeah, because we don't actually create or develop the budget, right? We recommend, present.
okay,
Well, the town is required to present a balanced budget.
yeah.
So what we have here is talking about character of the budget. FY 26, yeah, I was looking back to the one that was there previously, and it doesn't say much, the previous one. It's kind of
Correct.
it's kind of fluffy, so maybe we pull yours over. it says the previous one, character of the finance committee recognizes the difficulty of maintaining essential town service within the levy capacity. We know that everyone associated with addressing the cost of these essential services will be diligent in finding opportunities to reduce, go find savings. The resulting in property tax increase of about 9% for the average household. To help moderate the impact on taxpayers this year, I ask for aggressive action to review efficiency improvements and consider reductions or eliminating any non-essential services. We understand it is difficult to reduce activities that have been done for many years, but it's imperative we objectively evaluate what have been done and consider all non-essential activities for possible cost reduction. Reaction to that?
I like it.
Looking to my left, any reactions to that?
I like it.
Mike?
I'm fine.
Okay, bring it over. Do we continue to talk about the town and the salaries and benefits?
We didn't go over that one. I just wanted to see what people's thought are. Investing in capital for cost reduction.
Oh,
It's basically, if it makes sense, we'll fund it, even if we have to borrow. If we can get our money back. We often talk about cost savings, but I wanted to change it each year. So people don't read the damn thing.
Well, I respect people's work. I think you want to get across. Here's your guideline. What you try and spend, and then keep it simple. But I respect all the work.
But the people that run the departments have the best idea where the potential savings are.
Right.
So would you say that we might recommend a capital override?
If it saves enough money, if we get a return on it, absolutely.
Or
We
we know it's not a capital exclusion.
For what though?
What he's saying, they're investing in.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about an exclusion or whatever, but
We have the free
We fund
cash. We have the free cash. So I wouldn't.
no, what he's saying is, he's saying, folks,
If
you think you can buy something that's gonna save you money over time, consider it. That's all he's saying.
Money to save.
He's not saying,
This cruise would be an example where if we prolong that, they're gonna need a lot more maintenance, gonna impact the operating budget. Cost.
I'm not sure that's a good example. I was thinking more of, hey, if we bought that automated lawnmower, we wouldn't have to hire someone to mow the lawn.
We invest in this literacy
Program.
The reading curriculum.
Yeah.
or if we put in a new boiler,
It wasn't there.
it was
Wasn't there.
20% more efficient.
Yeah,
But we're gonna pay back for 7 years, Jay?
Yeah.
It'd be worth to go out and borrow to
Yeah.
do it.
What's that? Sorry, it is.
One example, if we had a much more efficient boiler, we could save 15% on fuel costs and get our money back in 7 years. It would be worth going out to debt if we had to. That's my point.
Yeah.
Think.
We just put a boiler in.
So the message you're saying is,
Money.
all right, so what I'm taking out of this is the message is, be creative, think of other ideas, including if sometimes you gotta spend money to save money.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
This was when I thought we had no free cash too. That's why I put in we'll even borrow.
Maybe just leave out the part about, borrowing, just. Present your capital expenditures as reductions in costs, and you won't necessarily say we don't recommend it, I think.
Okay. Methodology, probably wording, I don't wanna. Oh, this is back to you wanted to share the rolling stock guideline.
Yeah, you and John was after me for months too. Rolling stock guidelines. Only thought. Please consider the attached. If you plan to request, I think that's a nice way to put it.
All capital requests should be included in the townwide
Yeah,
plan.
fair enough.
That's always been there, the all capital request. He's just
Yeah.
talking about this line right here. Remember a year and a half ago, David did, almost 2 years ago now, David did a lot of work trying to put together some guidelines that were general.
Just
Yeah.
thought process basically to consider, yeah.
Can I just read that? Sorry. Attached rolling stock island. Can I see what the attached is?
Huh?
Yeah,
Consider the attached rolling.
Yeah, I know.
stock island.
That's the ones he built 2 years ago. Wonder where it'd be. So anyone else here, do you understand what we're talking about here? No,
Mike should, I don't know if you.
So I understand.
Heidi, were you?
I understand, I understand.
Yeah, you
It
were.
just,
Mike was, I was, Trey
Yeah.
was, so we had,
There.
Mhm.
you were here? So that was 5 of us.
But, yeah, I think we're through our phase of adding vehicles. I'm not sure, maybe,
well, I guarantee you there's a
I
vehicle
don't think
request
so.
this year.
but like to a replacement or in addition to.
There's no additions. We're
No.
we're actually reducing DPW has less pieces of equipment.
Because the
This
cops
year,
were, and for a while, the cops were like buying new cruisers and keeping the old ones as opposed to trading them in. And then there was, right, that's when all this came out, right?
Typically, it should be a 1-for-1 going
Right.
forward on the police
Wow.
every year, but there's been times when like, the pool car's been super successful. Instead of trading it in, it's the pool car, the COA uses it all the time, we use it from time to time.
That's, I think that's what the rolling stock was.
I think there's only a couple pieces of equipment on this year's capital that would probably fall into the rolling stock category.
Do you have it, Shay, or do you want me to send it?
Oh, I got it.
Sure. Usually something like 10,000 hours on it or hundreds.
I mean, I don't need to say it, says please consider, it's not saying have to.
That's right, it was our,
No, I got it.
it
Yeah.
was thoughts from everybody, including John.
Hey, John Guido?
That's how far back.
He was
it
the
goes.
first guy that came up with rolling stock.
John was the one that suggested it.
Yeah, back in the day.
John's comment was valid. He said, we spent an hour talking about $50,000 investment. Let's just get some guidelines and get on with the main subject.
before your time.
That was John's.
Rolling stock is defined as power used by town, goes to reduce life cycle costs. Net town rolling stock to remain level or be reduced. Consider cross-department use of vehicles to reduce redundancy and consolidate the fleet, example, pickup trucks, utilities. To turn the primary factor requiring vehicle replacement and seek approaches to reduce the impact. Example, corrosion on low mileage vehicles, incorporate better rust prevention program. Consider midlife rust treatment to extend life. Whereas the primary cause, replacement timing could be based overall mechanical conditions utilizing effective mileage. Example, a cruiser actual mileage plus equivalent mileage from idle time. Request for equipment should include the justification request as well as options or alternatives, if any. It should be an estimate of the net cost with trade-in and a cost benefit of the request. In addition to financial justifications such as maintenance cost justifications may include safety considerations, labor efficiency, technology improvements, quality of results, reliability. Evaluate the vehicle function is still needed or can be supplied utilizing other equipment.
I'm good with everything but one. I think to say as a standard, we're gonna look to keep level or reduce as a standard without.
Yeah, no, this is really a summary of what a lot of the individual departments do. It's common sense.
I mean, like I could say DPW just trade in 3 pieces of equipment to buy one.
So,
And say it was like a $40-something thousand piece that cost us $1,600 out of our operating budget. It's a great deal. And the Gary brought in last year, Superintendent Wiles brought in last year, the multi-purpose vehicle that he didn't.
Yeah.
One of the tractors is coming off the capital plan this year because of that trade-in that he was able to make. So we operationally, we kind of do that, but sometimes if the need's there to get a vehicle.
just
Yeah.
to stop
Well,
and
that's-
think is helpful sometimes.
I don't sense there's a lot of friction in this.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
I mean, 5 years ago, there's a lot of friction.
Yeah. Okay.
I just, if we
Yeah.
need another vehicle in the department for a real, like,
Well, yeah.
purpose, one just wouldn't apply.
Well, it'd be part of the conversation about the ask, and it's just, it'd be part of the ask and be part of the conversation. Well, why do you need it? Why are we increasing? Oh, okay, move on.
Yeah, as long as that,
They're guidelines.
Yeah,
They're not, I
as
mean,
long as
we don't have the authority to do anything other than provide guidelines. Let's call it what it is and move on. Okay. For the second year unusually large health insurance, is 11% based on anticipated increase by Meyer.
I got the wrong
Um,
screen up.
oh. Stop share, thanks. Those are already.
Yeah, we started a program with Gary, I think, you know, on those zero turn mowers.
Mhm.
And it worked real well. We approved the warrant article, but he didn't spend it until he needed it, but he had it there.
Mhm.
So he ran the other one into the ground till it was gone, and 1 year he didn't need it, so.
and
That
robotic lawnmowers have been helpful too, to help
Yeah.
prolong the life.
Yes. And so it's
I
been
love
some
those.
Yeah.
good improvement.
Those are really,
Well,
really good.
Well, in the event, I mean, the advantage of those, and I've had a couple, isn't just the reduced labor, it's the fact that you're de-stressing the lawn and it's got a better chance of growing.
The
I mean,
fields have never been better.
you- yeah. Because you're cutting it every 4 or 5 days and taking that much off, rather than
He said
hacking
he's
it.
running them every night.
Yeah, but they only do a certain section, they can't do the whole
Third,
field.
Are you
Third.
sure?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a huge field.
yeah, and so I mean, I was looking at one for my house, and I
Come on.
learned a lot about them in terms of, they run, the household ones, they run a quarter of your property at night.
As long as you're
Yeah, they're like
relatively
3
flat
grand
area,
too
yeah.
small.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cheaper than the zero turn I had bought
Oh, yeah.
bought, killing me. All right. I think we've got what we need here on this. What I'm gonna do is put it together. I don't think, and this sucks, I was hoping we could get further enough. I don't think we're close enough that I feel comfortable sending it out without a vote. Okay? One of the things we could consider doing, and this would be a first. I'm not advocating this ever again, but we could just do a remote meeting. Or do you think we want to do it in person? I don't care.
Just the letter?
Yeah.
But I remember it'd be fine.
Okay.
Mhm.
You guys, I mean, that's the only thing left we have is just to vet it, review it and
If
send
we
it.
come in here, we're gonna take way longer than we need to.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, you good with that?
Yeah, can you send it out to everybody?
I'm gonna
then?
send it.
And then I'll ask everybody to.
So I'm gonna
you know,
make
put
these
them on
edits. I'm gonna make these edits
Yeah.
that are here. Anybody else want to make edits instead? Okay, I'll make these edits along with prepping the other presentation. Send this out. And then everyone mark up what you'd like marked up. Don't share it. And we will discuss it next Monday remotely. Okay?
Yeah.
That will be one of 2 topics. The other will be meeting minutes. That we'll go.
Those are always 30 seconds.
Well, that's because we have Heidi doing them.
Great.
And we've, with the Zoom, oh, shoot, Heidi. First half of this meeting wasn't reported.
Okay.
I'll make some minutes,
But
whatever.
would Zoom have the transcription enabled?
I don't know if I enable transcription.
Okay.
It's okay.
So we're meeting next Monday, right?
Meeting next Monday,
Remotely, 6:30.
6:30 work for everyone?
Yep.
Okay. All right,
Motion to adjourn?
we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Good night, everyone.